This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
In Walmart's Hoonuville, everyone ready their cart. Amazing Black Friday deals are about to start. Online and in the app, such great deals to explore. Everything you love from tech, toys, and more. The days to save and the ones to remember. It's only the 25th to the 30th of November. Set your alarms. Don't miss out. These deals are epic, without a doubt. The Who's are all ready, but are you? Walmart Black Friday deals await. Who knew?
This is the Mom 2.0 podcast series from the summit in Scottsdale, Arizona, held in the spring of 2023. Listen in.
There is no hood like parenthood. Hi, I'm Kanika Chadda Gupta. I'm a former CNN journalist, mom of 3, including twins, and host of That's Total Mom Sense, the podcast. Now, if I had $1 every time I heard, gee, you have your hands full. On my show, I interview change makers on their life lessons, legacy, and superpower of intuition, which I call our Mom Sense and Dad Sense. I've had the privilege of working with Mom 2.0, March of Dimes, and the White House, and have had some pretty amazing parents on my show.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kelly Rowland.
Hi, this is Chelsea Clinton.
It's me, Bobby Brown. Can't wait to share my story.
That's Total Mom Sense is a production of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube so you never miss an episode. To join my tribe, visit that'stotalmomsense.com and follow me on Instagram at Kanika Chadda Gupta. Now let's dive into today's episode. We are back live at the Mom 2.0 Summit, and this is the That's Total Mom Sense podcast. And now joining me is Dr. Eunice Park. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Hi, I'm very excited to be on the podcast as well as a first-time attendee of the Mom 2.0 Summit.
Wonderful. And tell us about your keynote this morning.
So it was such an incredible experience sharing my journey to creating Era modern beauty rituals with a group of moms, who are also creatives and entrepreneurs. And I think my story of my postpartum care journey and recovery journey, I think resonates in a deeper sense with this group of women.
Yes, 100%. I think we look to peel back the layers right after Hi, my name is. and why not, right? Why have the pretense and why have just a superficial talk? Because I think what we really seek, especially as we're in our isolated experiences as moms, is that depth of connection. And here you're going to get it right off the bat once you meet someone else.
No, absolutely. I think in the very few minutes that I was able to share my story and also conduct a tea meditation, like a very brief, few-minute mindfulness moment on stage, I was able to just gather that energy, and I think that the level of just support and encouragement that you feel also from the audience is quite amazing.
Yes. And what would you say are your first thoughts? Because some might have, their beliefs around it. But when I say self-care, what does that bring up for you?
I think that self-care now, it can mean a lot of things. And I think to some people, it means taking a bubble bath or lighting a candle.
Yeah.
But the discussion this morning was that self-care runs much deeper than that.
Yes.
And self-care for me at this point is having a very quiet moment to myself to process and just reflect on my day.
Yeah.
And there's this craving. I feel like more now than ever before, I'm craving time where I don't have my phone.
Yeah.
And and the kids are in bed.
Right. I know that. Yeah. That's nice quiet time for sure.
And then I'm looking away from email. Right. And of course, being in the beauty and aesthetic space, I do think that, elements of skincare and taking care of myself and living a more healthy lifestyle also brings in just a more positive perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, overall.
Yes. And I mean, not that I want to bring up the cliche, but beauty is skin deep and it's from the inside out. And I love that you started on the inside, looking within, making sure to take a pause and enjoy that silence with yourself. I think if you start there, everything else is a bonus. And this is something that I definitely feel, because self-care is a word or term that's thrown around a lot. And when I think like, oh, going for a mani or pedi, that's grooming. It's not necessarily I'm taking care of myself, you know? It has to be something deeper. And with skincare, I think the idea of rituals, that definitely feels like you are, because it's something that you've created as a sacred time where that's all yours. And what you're doing with that time is, you know, it's something that's like special, you know?
And you mentioned self-care. I mean, I shared today the Korean principle of kwalli. And kwalli is a term in its literal sense. It means the care of. And so we kwalli our body, our skin, but it's also something that mothers tell daughters. It says kwalli your body and well-being.
Yeah.
And so it's something that's passed down from generation, and it's not a term that means, like you said, grooming, which is often a synonymous term.
Right,
for self-care.
right.
And being able to align our mind, body, and spirit, that's when I think that we feel transformed. So we feel like we're the best version of ourselves.
Yes.
And that's when I think that we come into just our power, our ability to be able to do the work that we're really meant to do. And that's the transformation I see in my patients.
Thank you so much, Dr. Park.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be on your podcast and to meet you.
Thank you. Now I'm interviewing Jessica Eastman Stewart, founder of the Joyfully Managed Team and Family. She parlays her work life leading teams in corporate, including fighting for educational equity through Go Public Schools, to helping her clients achieve success and harmony in their households. Listen in. So Jessica, tell us a little bit about what, was that catalyst you needed to come here.
Oh my gosh. Being connected to other folks who are also supporting families is so valuable. And honestly, I just texted my husband earlier today, and I've been to a number of conferences in my life, and I said, this is the most useful conference I have ever attended. So great.
It really is.
And everybody is so kind.
Yeah.
The location is beautiful.
I know. The whole thing is a vibe.
Yeah.
And I feel like the connections and friendships that we make here, they are lifelong.
Yeah.
My first one was last year in LA, and it felt like we didn't miss a beat. A lot of the women that were all over, where we reconnected again here. And it's like, has it been a year? It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. I know. It is my first time here, and I feel like I've already met folks that I feel like I've known for a long time, and I literally just met them at the airport yesterday.
Oh my God.
But we're like seeing each other like, oh, hey again. Good to see you.
Yeah, exactly.
Bestie.
Yeah.
You met this other person. You should connect them with each other. Okay.
Right. I love it.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. I help working parents get organized both at home and also at work.
Okay. Nice. And so give us some hacks on organization, because I feel like that is a multi-pronged question. We have our digital organization, we have our home organization, we have our work life and household, all of it. Yeah. And it's not just Container Store. It's more than that.
Oh, it's so much more than that. I think one of my favorite strategies, and I was just talking to a bunch of moms at lunch today about this, is having a weekly family meeting.
Oh.
And my husband and I have been doing this for a number of years, and our kids are now starting to get to the point where they can join. But for the longest time, it was just the two of us. It was focused on the logistics and the priorities of our family and home life. And it honestly is the thing that keeps us from feeling so overwhelmed and dropping all of the balls in our very full life.
Yes, 100%. I am going to take a cue from you. What do you discuss in this family meeting?
Yeah.
And what's it like with 4-year-old opinions, 6-year-old opinions? Does a 2-year-old get to just stand on his head?
So folks, we're starting to incorporate our kids, but they don't come for the whole thing.
Okay.
And when they do come, we're asking them questions like, what went well for you this week? Is there something you want to work on this week? Like, is there something about how our family is working together that can be improved? But when my husband and I are there alone, and to be fully transparent, our kids are totally on screens during this time because that's what allows us to get the focused time together. We are talking about the calendar for the week, right? Like what's coming up, is anything, that's where we discover like, ooh, I have a meeting on that day. And so I actually can't do kid pickup like normal on Tuesday. So can you do it? Or, oh, right, we're going to have friends over on Thursday. What are we making?
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
You are welcome.
Great. My next interview is with Deepti Sharma, a Forbes 30 Under 30 entrepreneur who is the founder and CEO of Food to Eat, a company on a mission to unite people around the communal table and add diversity to the food community by championing small businesses from every neighborhood. She connects mom and pop owned restaurants to corporations and helped feed frontline workers and citizens in need during the pandemic. She also ran for city council in Queens, New York, 24th District, and continues to serve as an entrepreneur in residence at Barnard College, building incubators and seeing students' product ideas through to market and beyond. Take a listen. I am joined by someone who, it feels like a friend, a blast from the past, because we connected, I think it was like 2019, and then the pandemic. Yeah, and then it was like, oh my God, we're just in a hole all alone. And here we are meeting in person for the first time.
Yeah.
And you're in Queens and I'm in Jersey. And this is happening in Camelback, Scottsdale, New Jersey. Scottsdale, Arizona. I can't believe it.
It's funny because I feel like I've met you in person only because on social I've followed your work and the things that you're doing and talking about. So it's so surreal. Like when you said this is the first time, I was like, oh my God, wait, really? Yeah. How is this the first time?
And how many friendships do you have that are like that are just cultivated virtually, and it's years later that you're like, oh wow, we've been in these spaces and we're finally connecting in person.
And it's funny, we're cultivating them and supporting each other through this virtual world because we all want to see each other growing and doing really amazing, successful things. So and giving tips on how to mom or how to be a working mom or stay at home, wherever you are in your journey. And so it's kind of cool to have that.
Yeah, 100%. So tell me what you're working on now.
So a lot's happened since the pandemic.
Yes.
I've done a lot. I ran for office. Yeah. I left my second company. But today, I'm entrepreneur in residence at Barnard College. And what that means is I essentially helped create a incubator at the school where we have students apply. We take 10 students in and we help them with their entrepreneurial journeys.
Wow.
And since I've started 2 companies and a very mission and purpose-driven founder, they decided to ask me to come, and I've been doing that for the past couple of years.
Oh my God, amazing. And can you touch on your companies? Because one, Food to Eat, I feel like was just you paying homage to growing up in a community in Queens and why so many families needed that support.
Yeah, so Food to Eat started off as a corporate catering service where we partnered with immigrant, women, and minority-owned restaurants. And the idea was, how do we add to their bottom line? And so help them get into large corporate offices. So we worked with Warby Parker, the Skim. And when the pandemic hit, we literally went from being $1 million business to zero in a day because everybody left work.
Yeah.
Nobody was going in. Everybody was remote.
Right.
And instead of shutting the company down immediately, I decided to figure out what does the community need right now? And so that was, lots of people were going food insecure, right? And they were working in restaurants and in places where they were needed in person, but then those jobs were kind of diminishing because the demand was clearing out. And so, we fed 500,000 New Yorkers by fundraising, grant writing, and then partnering with World Central Kitchen in Queens. And it was one of the most incredible experiences because, I've been organizing since I was a teenager. I've been showing up at protests. I've been working in the community. But to be able to do it at a time when the world was literally shut down and nobody was going anywhere was very, just rewarding. And just I found a very different purpose for myself for my community in that time. So, I was just, when people were sheltering in place, I was like, well, tell me where I need to go. I was like carrying like 30-pound boxes of food just everywhere. So we did that. And then, I decided the company I needed to take a break from it. It was a lot mentally to just like have gone through all that.
Yeah.
And the entrepreneur in residence role came at a very great time, right after I decided to run for office and didn't win. But it was a way again, to give back in a very interesting way, work with Gen Z students in helping them create their own purposeful businesses.
That's wonderful. And I think that, I feel so many entrepreneurs talk about this, that failure just gives you a new vantage point, and it's just a means for you to redirect. And I know Reshma Sojani, she's been on the show before too. She talked about how that was actually like the catalyst to Girls Who Code, was because of that, congressional race loss. So for you, what was it like kind of being in politics and in that race? And then now you're doing something completely different, but honing in on those skills and those learnings.
Yeah. So I ran for office in a very interesting time. I looked at what was happening and said to myself, well, what can I do to serve my community? And it just fell into my lap, and it was the right time, the right seat, and I didn't win. And, I didn't see it as a failure because, listen, I've been failing for a long time, and I've been succeeding for a long time. And those failures, I literally keep a book of failures.
Amazing.
To record them and to like go back and say, okay, like I did this and I messed up. And sometimes you forget about some of the things that you kind of came back from. But I learned a lot from, being out on the streets in a very different way than I had been in the past. People were judging me. People were testing me. And I was like, wow, like I really see that this is a very different thing that I've ever done before. Nothing can prepare you to be the actual candidate. And so, the next day was very weird because I was like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Right? Like this didn't work out and that's fine. But what comes next? And so I took time. I took a bit of time, and it was the first time in 16, 17 years that I wasn't working.
Wow.
And so I was like, all right, let's figure this out. And the entrepreneur in residence role kind of came to me through somebody I knew. And I spoke with them and I was like, yeah, I love what you're doing. Do you think I would be a good fit for this role? And they were like, yes, because you build with intention. You're not trying to preach building like billion-dollar businesses, although I look up to all the, amazing, incredible people that have built unicorns, but that's not the only way to build. And so for me, it was taking all of my learnings as a founder in the past, having done a bootstrap and, a VC-backed company, and taking the key learnings from both sides of those businesses and presenting them to students that didn't have an opportunity to work with somebody who had built, right?
Yeah.
Two businesses from the ground up. And you only get that when you go to business school.
We are here at Mom 2.0, and this is That's Total Mom Sense, the podcast, and I am joined by Dr. Sarah Mitchell. Thank you so much for being with us today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and what has been something from Mom 2.0 that has surprised you this year?
A wonderful surprise of seeing people from my past. This was my third Mom 3.0.
Yes.
2.0.
Yes.
And the first one was in 2018 in Pasadena.
Okay.
And I just grabbed a woman in the hallway and I said, you might not remember me, but we had the most in-depth conversation in the hot tub in Pasadena in 2018, and you left a mark on my life.
That's amazing. That's the best kind of surprise.
Yeah.
Holy crap, I'm so glad I asked you that.
Yeah. And that's why I keep coming back to Mom 2.0 is the connections and the people that are here who are doing exciting things and really like living their lives in the best way they can, like outside the box. That's why I come back.
Yes, 100%. And I think that we all crave being part of a community and collective like this. And the fact that we get to reconnect every year is so important for our mental health.
Absolutely, especially if you're a solopreneur like I am. Like you're in the office day by day with not a lot of people around you. And yeah, we definitely need the community.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about your practice.
Yeah, I empower tired parents to teach their little ones to sleep so they can parent confidently day and night. So they come for the sleep and they leave with the parenting because it is both.
I love it. And so what are some of your principles that you kind of impart to families around sleep?
Yeah. So the Helping Babies Sleep Method, it's my book on Amazon. We have 5 pillars. Okay. The first one is really understanding that sleep really is a learned habit. I don't always think about it like that. We think, especially when you have a baby, that this should be this beautiful, natural, instinctual thing that just should unfold.
Yes.
And you shouldn't have to work at it. But if I said to you tonight, you can't sleep in your favorite position as an adult, and I'm going to take away your pillow, think about how frustrated that would be for you. You're going to toss and turn.
Yes.
But you'll learn a new way to fall asleep. And the same is true for our littles. Just don't really think about that. So there's some mindset work, even just understanding that concept, right?
Right.
The second pillar is timing. So putting kids down too early or too late. So timing, for anyone listening, is the easiest thing you can work on.
Okay.
In helping your kiddo sleep. The third one is being an intentional feeder. So if we're using food to soothe them to sleep all the time, we're not really using it intentionally for fuel. We're using it for soothing. We're going to have to keep doing that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like when you have babies and you have that nighttime feed or dream feed, eventually, stop dreaming. It's not going to be something you can do long term.
Yes, exactly. Are the habits, because I think there's like 1,000 different ways to raise your families. Just keep this working for you. And is this sustainable long term? So when I'm working with newborns, we're working on gentle newborn sleep shaping to develop habits that you can maintain long term. Because sure, we love having them sleep on us. Who doesn't?
We are recording live with Jenny Wu. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And is this your first time at the conference?
It is. It's been amazing. We are with understood.org, and we are the official cause partner of Mom 2.0 this year, and we're just absolutely thrilled. It's been really amazing hearing people's stories. I feel like every time we introduce ourselves, every third mom here tells us about their neurodivergent children, and many of them already know us. So it's been amazing how much of this community is really the understood community.
Yes, 100%. And what made you want to sign on to a conference like this? Because I'm sure there are so many pitches and you have to find the one that aligns.
Yeah, so understood.org is a social impact organization. We've been around for over a decade, really helping parents with children who have learning and thinking differences like ADHD and dyslexia. Over time, we've built up lots of different resources and products to help parents either demystify what it means for their child to have learning and thinking differences, and also strategies and tools to help them manage it. And recently, about a year ago, we launched our Wonder app. That's Wonder with a U.
Ooh.
And it's a first of its kind community app that is designed especially for parents and caregivers of children with learning and thinking differences, so all across the spectrum. And we have, parent groups where you can connect with other parents who are going through similar things. We also have real life experts, with PhDs, either neuropsychs or occupational therapists that cover all sorts of topics. And so our goal is to really cut through the noise, make parents feel less alone going through this, and also give them the right information that they need without having to sift through loads and loads of misinformation.
Yes, 100%. And I do feel like there are some stopgaps that are systemic when it comes to identifying that neurodivergence in the schools and not having, I would say, the resources to be able to address everyone's, unique needs. And now I am with Amy Shoenthal, and she is an author. So tell us about what you write about.
Yeah, I have been writing for many outlets, including Forbes Women, for, 6-7 years now. And I interview founders and leaders and people who are really shaping culture and society for the better in some way.
That's great.
And over the years, I have seen just a significant trend where the pinnacle of everyone's story is really when they get to some setback that they faced or some problem that they encountered that led them to their most brilliant idea and generally their most successful venture.
Yes.
And that's how I came up with the idea to sort of explore why this was happening and see if there was some sort of formula or framework that they were all working through to get to this moment, to see if maybe we can make it easier on others who are experiencing inevitable setbacks.
Right. Yeah. Well.
Exactly. So I'm like, can we fast forward this process and get to that golden nugget?
Is that going to happen?
Like faster?
Yes.
The answer is no, but it sparked an idea for a book, which is called The Setback Cycle, and it comes out next March.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's birthing a baby all its own.
Oh my God. I don't know. Labor was not this.
Yeah, I know, right?
It didn't last this long.
Yeah. I feel like for all of us who have a book in there, I mean, just I feel like it's just a huge undertaking. And it's just the blood, sweat, and tears and pouring your heart onto the pages. And then when it's out for the universe to enjoy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
I love that you created your own beat because it's something that is so relevant. And I think in the society that we're in, women particularly need to feel empowered and embrace, our failures. I've had Reshma Sojani on the show, and
she's in the book.
Okay, as she should be. And we need to be brave, not perfect, because perfection is not tenable.
No, it's true. And I think, this isn't one of those like we're glorifying failure or saying like go out and make mistakes. That's a really privileged point of view.
Right.
We're just saying there are inevitable setbacks that will come, and here's how to work through it. And the people that I feature in the book, like Reshma, are not only, working through their issue to benefit themselves or make a lot of money, they're doing it to benefit society as a whole.
Yes.
And I was noticing this, especially, through the pandemic, which is when I started writing this book in 2021. And I was seeing this, but then I was seeing all these news headlines about, women are just, in a terrible situation and everything is a mess and they're not getting any funding and the caregiver crisis is a disaster. And that's all true. But what I was also seeing was these other people, mostly women, who were developing solutions to all of these problems.
Wow.
But they weren't getting nearly enough attention. They weren't getting nearly enough funding. And so my hope is that by sharing the stories of what they did, I will inspire other people to maybe either work through their setbacks or when they find themselves in it, not say, oh God, everything is over, my dreams are crushed, or whatever the unique situation is, but to say, okay, let's see what can happen. How can I work through this? Let's see what comes next. Maybe there is a light. Maybe there is something that I can do for, the greater good after this experience.
Right. Okay, I'm going to ask you a very loaded question.
Go ahead.
There's got to be a personal kind of through line in the book. What was your personal setback that you were like, I had to face this music and overcome it?
This was the hardest part for me because I am so good at telling other people's stories and I am so bad at writing about myself or telling my own stories. I am never in the narrative.
Right.
But when you write a book, you have to put your own voice in there and you have to put yourself in the narrative. And so every time I submitted a draft or anything to like a book coach, my agent, the publisher, every time the feedback was, I need more of you. I need more of your voice. I need an anecdote here and there to illustrate your story. And so I had a setback that is a very commonly experienced one, that, most women who decide to have children and dare to go back to work after having children and expect that they will, I guess, be able to function as they had prior to having children. Now, I work at a marketing firm and they're wonderful and everyone's very supportive. And so even in the best of circumstances, there is still a looming identity crisis. And I was so self-conscious that I was not proving my value and that I had to reclimb this mountain after being gone for 3 months. Because I think society just sort of imprints this message on you that once you are a mom in the workforce, you are not as committed to your job. And I'm saying this in, it was 2018 when I had my daughter. This is a moment where this conversation is happening.
Yeah.
That there is a stigma and you're educated about it and you work at an inclusive workplace that accommodates you and does all the things they're supposed to do, and you still feel so self-conscious.
Yeah. This is Kanika with That's Total Mom Sense, and I am joined by Gwen, and she is with Aura. Tell us a little bit about the company.
Aura is an easy-to-use online safety platform for the whole family. So we monitor everything that's important to you. So that's your finances, your identity, your devices, and in particular, your family. So very focused here today on sharing with people about our family solutions around parental controls and safe gaming for online predator and cyberbullying alerts.
Wow. And just educate us a little bit on this, especially for those who have younger kids. I have kids sub 6 years old, so they're not going to see phones for a very long time, though they do know how to find the YouTube symbol and the camera app on my phone. But I feel like let's start there and then tell us about how we can enable controls for the older kids. But with the younger ones, is there anything that we can have in place to make sure that they're safe?
Yeah, I think even if it's not their own devices, you can essentially set up parental controls on whatever device that you allow them to use. You can set it up so that they are not able to access certain content that you would not want them to see.
Yes.
For YouTube in particular, you can turn on kind of safe search, which puts it in the kind of a little more kid-friendly mode for kids to use. And you can also set time limits on it. So if you don't want them endlessly, staring at this while you walk away, you could set 15 minutes, 30 minutes that they're allowed to be on whatever app it is. Even if it's a kid's, gaming app, educational app, you might not want them with that much time, visually on screens and doing other things. So that's one thing. I'd also say something that's important for kids of any age is identity protection. So 1 in 50 kids last year had their identity stolen.
What?
That's crazy. So nearly 1 million kids in the U.S. had their identity stolen. Kids have clean credit files, so they're often targeted by cyber criminals.
Oh my God.
It's really important to not only monitor your identity as an adult, but also your kids. So that's something we offer for the whole family.
And I mean, how is that information leaked to those who are hacking? And
I mean, it's unfortunately becoming more and more prevalent. So just last year alone, every year the FBI releases updated stats. There was $10.9 billion lost to online crime last year alone. And to put that in perspective, there was only 1.6 lost to home burglary. So what years ago you might have seen a reverse in this trend of, home burglary and online crime was not such a big thing. But over the years, criminals have moved online. So it's ever more important that we're protecting ourselves online,
right?
Whether it is you as an adult and your own credit and your identity, but also your kids, that they're not getting, scammed or catfished as kids, or online predators are trying to get to them just while they're playing their video games once they do get a little bit older.
So scary. Okay, so now let's dig a little deeper into those who are of middle school and high school age that have their own phones and devices and are gaming and have their profiles and know a lot more than parents do about how to navigate those spaces. So how do we set up controls for them and protect them?
Yep. So there's 2 different solutions we offer. So safe gaming, one. Most of those games are played on a PC. So you actually download the software onto the PC, and then you're able to get a weekly report on what they're doing on games, how much time they're spending, kind of a weekly activity overview. We also will send you alerts if we detect cyberbullying or online predators in the presence. So you will get alerted so that you're able to then, get them off the game, really have a conversation with the kids. We really advocate that, you also have a conversation. Tools and technology can only go so far. And yes, we can put, with parental controls, you can put the settings on their phones so they can't access certain things. But kids are still going to, explaining to them why it's important. Yeah. So we just did some research that we were releasing around Mother's Day. And, over 50% of parents are worried about what their kids are doing online. And over 50% of them are kind of actively monitoring it. But only 1 in 5 is actually having a conversation with their kids frequently. Okay. So it's something we also encourage to, there's that human element of also talking to them about it.
Yeah.
And helping them understand the dangers.
Thank you for listening to this podcast series. We are so excited to see you at the next Mom 2.0 Summit. I hope to see all of you there at the Mom 2 Summit in Nashville. You can use my exclusive code MOMSENSE to receive 25% off. So visit the website mom2.com/summit and enter in code MOMSENSE, all caps, for 25% off. And you can also visit my website, that's totalmomsense.com, and I've included the exact URLs in the show notes. always trust your mom sense and dad sense. Stay strong, super parents. I'll see you next time.